Hi everyone, it's Wes here, back with another video. And today I want to address this. Should you follow up after you have done an interview and you haven't heard back from the company that interviewed you? Like, should you write them an email? Should you call them? Or should you just leave it? So I'll be answering this question. The main reason why I'm answering this question is because sometimes you attend an interview, and after you have attended the interview, you are very confident to say, you know what, I think I did my best and I'm hoping for the best. And as human beings, we don't like to wait in vain. Or most of the times I would say we are hopeful that, oh, maybe you'll be the successful candidate, mostly if you have performed well at that interview. Now, think of this. You go to the interview, after you've done the interview, they have told you to say the results will be out in the next 2 weeks. Cool. Now you go to your calendar and you'll be like, okay, you know what? I did the interview on Wednesday, but I'll start counting from next week, Monday, right? For me to count 2 weeks. So you do 2 weeks from the following Monday, and after 2 weeks, you haven't heard back from them. You'll be like, am I the successful candidate? Or maybe they've already communicated to someone else who is a successful candidate, or maybe I shouldn't even follow up, or maybe let me just leave it. You see, being in that situation is a little bit tricky because, you're waiting for something, but you don't know whether you should follow up or not. Now, I'm doing this video, and the answer to the question to say, should you follow up or you shouldn't follow up? The answer is yes and no. Both of them are right for two reasons. I'll explain why. Now, the first reason why I'm saying yes, you should follow up is for these three specific reasons. Now, the first one is know your way forward. That's the first reason why you should follow up. You should know your way forward. So, when you go to an interview and after everything is said and done, and you haven't heard back in the time that they said they will communicate back to you, for you to know the way forward, you just have to kind of like either write an email, or if you have a phone number, you can be able to call them. Mainly calling the HR. It would be much better to just call to say, oh, I'm Wezi, I did an interview 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to know, you said the results would be out in the next 2 weeks, but I haven't heard back from you. I just wanted to know, should I still wait? That will help you to know, and you'll be able to move forward whether they tell you yes or no. All right. Now, that's the first reason why you have to kind of like follow up. Now, this is a way you can be able to follow up, as I said, through an email. Now, in the email, it doesn't have to be long. It just have to be, you know what, I did an interview in the last 2 weeks. I'd like to follow up on the results. Just wanted to know on the results. As simple as that. You don't have to go into details. Oh, I was wearing a suit, a black suit on that day. I was wearing a red tie on that day. No, they know you. They have your CV. When they call you, they know you. So that's what you can do now. The second reason why you have to follow up, this one is a little bit, I wouldn't say tricky, but it just depends on like what the HR or maybe the company that interviewed you for sees it, right? What I mean is, the second reason why you have to follow up is to show that you're eager to work for the company. All right. Like when you're following up, it's like, oh, let's say 10 people interviewed for that position, and then you're the only one who is following up. They'll be like, oh, of all these people, we have Wesley here who's following up. Oh, maybe he's really eager for him to work for us. Now, I say tricky because it may also show a sense of desperation. Now, that's the negative side of this. I said the positive side is it will show that you are eager to work for them, but on the other side, they'll be like, this man is desperate. This man is desperate. Of all these people, like, why is he the only one trying to follow up? So I said this one is tricky because it really depends on the HR of that company, or how the company views people following up. Now, let me talk about the third reason why you have to follow up. Now, this one is kind of like the first one, but this one is a little bit different because this one is very important, and it's kind of like a mental thing if you get it. Now, when you follow up and they tell you that you're not the successful candidate, it is much better for you to move on because you have heard from them, like, it's now official that you're not the successful candidate. All right. But if you haven't followed up and you're just waiting, it's been a week, it's been 2 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, you're still hopeful to say, maybe they'll come back to me. Maybe they'll come back to me. Maybe they're still working on paperwork and everything. Maybe they'll still come back to me. Now, it kind of like keeps you in a mental prison. Should I say? That's too deep, but or in a certain mental state that you're kind of like just hoping for the best, but you don't know whether it really is the best that you should hope for, or maybe you shouldn't even hope for it. Yeah. So you should follow up. Like I said, it's a yes or no now. On the yes one, as I said, you should follow up for you to move on mentally. Now, for you to start looking for other jobs and kind of like set it up in your mind to say, you know what, I did the interviews for company XYZ, for company XYZ. I want to say XYZ, but you didn't, mate. I did interviews for company XYZ and I wasn't the successful candidate, right? Now, once you have kind of like known that you're not the successful candidate, move on. Move on. Now, let me say this. Moving on is not easy. It is not easy because sometimes it can be that you're not working and maybe that's the only interview that you have attended in recent times and you have really been hoping for this one. Now, I'm here telling you just move on. It's not easy. It's not easy, but that's one of the things that can help you kind of like focus on the next projects or the next jobs. Otherwise, because if you despair much on the lost opportunity or on the lost interview, the last interview, or yeah, if you despair much on that interview, you find yourself not being productive in applying for new jobs because you'll be like, you know what, I was really hoping for that one. I was really hoping for that one. I don't think I have it in me anymore to apply for jobs. So it is really important for you to to um, to follow up. Now, as you have seen, this was me answering on the yes side. Now, on the no side, the first reason why you shouldn't follow up is kind of like what I said in point number two, to say it somehow shows desperation. Uh, so let's say five people did interviews, and then you're the only one who is following up. Like maybe after every 2 weeks, you're following up. After every 2 weeks, you're following up. Now, let me tell you a story. So I was talking to a friend like back then, last year, that even. So he was telling me about another friend who had interviews to the point that he used to call the HR personnel even at night, like, oh, like after work hours, right? Or I'd like to follow up on the interview that we did 2 weeks ago. Where is it? That it was too much for the HR. He had to tell my other friend. You can just imagine. He was like, tell your friend not to just be following up. I mean, we're still working on it. So you see, so it's really something that you don't have to just keep following up, keep following up. I always advise to say if you have to follow up once or twice, then that's it. But if you have to do it 3 or 4 or 5 times, I mean, that's too much. That is too much. So I always tell people to say, if you have to follow up, maybe you should follow up after 1 month has passed after the interviews, or even after 2 months, and maybe you haven't heard back. So, because most of the times you really do get back the results within a week or within 2 weeks. But if it has taken 4 weeks or maybe 5 weeks, yeah, then you can follow up maybe with an email or a phone call and only do it once. You don't have to be like pestering them like an email on WhatsApp, a message, a phone call. No, that's too much. So yeah, so that's it, guys, on whether you have to follow up or not. So it's a yes and it's a no. Now, how do you decide whether you should follow up or you shouldn't follow up? Now, I'll say this: mainly you should focus on the atmosphere that you got during the interview itself. Now, interviews are different. And once you get into the interview room, you're able to see like, okay, these people are approachable, or maybe these people I shouldn't even check on them. So once you get into the interview room and you've been able to assess, like, okay, you know what, I think I can be able to follow up maybe with the HR, seems approachable enough, then you should be able to follow up. But if you see the situation and you're like, following up with these people, I don't think they'll even answer me, then you shouldn't follow up. So it's dependent on the situation. I don't think I would advise that you should follow up on any other interview. But let's just say if you haven't heard back in a year's time, then maybe you just have to move on. A year's time is even a lot. But yeah, so now, why I'm saying a year's time, let me tell you something. Why I'm saying a year's time is because I myself did an interview for an organization which is in the USA. Now, let me let me share my story here. So I applied for this job in 2022 in December. Now, I applied for this job at the same time that I had applied for the job that I'm currently working at NHS. So I remember in December I applied for 3 jobs, if I'm not mistaken. One was in the USA, in New York, I remember. The other one was here in the UK, in Inverness. Now, the one in after I had applied for the NHS one, I think as I've said in some of my videos, you can be able to check them on this channel. I said I applied on the 8th of or 7th of December. I got an interview email on the 12th. Then that's it. But for the other one, I applied in December, I think on the 28th or 29th of December. Just forgotten the days. Now, when I had applied for this job in December, I got a call for the interviews in August 2023. Now, that is like I would say 8 months, right? And guys, this is a big organization, a very big organization, one of the biggest organizations that you know. I was actually called for the interviews, for 2 interviews, I should say. Now, I did the interviews in August 2023. And guess what, guys? I got the response that I wasn't a successful candidate in 2024 in October. Look at that. So it has taken a year. But then I stopped, not like I followed up, but after that interview, I had already gotten this job. I never followed up. I was just like, you know what? That's it. I've gotten this job. For the other one, if it works, we'll decide there. You know, that thing of like, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. But yeah, that's it, guys. I thought I'd just share my story to say sometimes it takes a year for you to be given feedback. I'm really grateful that they've given me feedback, though it has taken time. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, guys, I hope you find this video helpful. Let me know if you have been able to follow up before for an interview. Let me just hear from you. How was the experience? Was it good? Did you get a favorable response from the HR? Or let me just hear from the company. Yeah, I'd like to hear from you. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you find it helpful, please subscribe, share this with your friend or with your colleague or with your workmate or anyone else that you can share this with. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.